Assassin's Creed. Came out like I think like what, November 2007? Started by Ubisoft Montreal, and you know this is where the story goes here. Going from 1 to 2 to Revelations, something about the Brotherhood, then 3, then Black Flag, and then I think they stopped counting after fucking Unity. Jokes aside, like Assassin's Creed is probably obviously a famous game considering what it was able to do during the PS3 era or yeah, something like that. Then obviously moving on in other franchises, I may or may not have forgot the 360 was a thing. That's on me. Uh I kind of just wanted to rant about it because one day I was like, you know what? You know what was a good game? Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Saying that while playing the newer ones, what, Assassin's Creed Origins, a game that pissed me off so much that I decided to make this video. I'm not doing a quote unquote like expert review or anything like that. I just kind of wanted to rant about these things, mainly because of how much fun I had, considering how it Assassin's Creed kind of stepped away from the normal tropes in video games. Granted, there is the, usual like killing dudes, but like you did it differently here, waiting for your enemy to strike, fucking dive bombing from like hundreds of feet in the air, stabbing a dude and walking away like it was nothing. It was a great time. I started with Assassin's Creed 2 technically, but I eventually played 1, and even though 1 is outdated, it still holds up, at least in the story department. Granted, the controls take a bit getting used to, but I think that was kind of in its favor. I'll get to that eventually. I'm not really gonna bash the game regarding bugs and glitches, because those are just expected, plus I didn't run into any of them. Granted, there are such clips such as this one.
Make room.
Make room, I'll fucking do what I want! God. Really? Really?
Who would do such an awful thing?
You're a dead
Man, homeboy saw me just commit murder in broad daylight. Or this one. Fucking God. Why he bounce like that? And it's a great fucking time when those kind of bugs and glitches happen, let me tell you. And yeah, there is, I guess, the stereotype of Ubisoft games being buggy, but man, that joke's been ran dry. It's practically powder at this point. In terms of progression, I'm just going to kind of introduce the story, because eventually the game, in my opinion, kind of just starts following like a set order of do X, Y, and Z, then restart. In which case, the game works for itself. I'll get into it in a minute, but I'm not going to try and explain the whole thing. I am going to explain the beginning and the ending, the middle. That's anyone's game. And as terms of progression, fuck no. I started a script, went like 2 pages long, haven't even left the intro, and I was like, alright, no, I'm erasing this. We're starting from the beginning. This is mainly going to be an incoherent rant, so if you have problems, meet me in the parking lot. You can kick my ass for like $20. Or free, really. I don't have to charge. Or you can rob me, really, whichever one you do. That's all on you. Also, I guess I probably should explain this. The footage I'm using is when I was streaming the PC version, so the one on Steam, the director's cut. I was told this thing would look like garbage, but I don't know if it's like my graphics card has like crack in it or something, but it looked fine, like overall. Granted, I originally played the one on PS3. Well, it was included in the Revelations, like Game of the Year, whatever the black box was. And honestly, I don't really have much to say about graphics other than it looked good for the time. Still kind of holds up. I mean, granted, you could compare it to a lot of garbage that comes out, like fucking... Alright, you got me there. Other than that, I'm just going to kind of just wing it from here. I have a script, and I am choosing to ignore it. So, you play as a guy named Miles Desmond, something like that. I don't know. Kilometers, Daryl. Yeah, sure, let's go with that. You're kidnapped by the pharmaceutical company CVS. Am I allowed to say that on the internet? Who cares? I doubt CVS is paying attention to this. If so, fuck. This is a joke. Editor, which is probably me. That was a joke. Anyways, you're being kidnapped by CVS, and then you're being apparently held hostage because you have information that is vital to them. I don't know. You apparently can't just give them the info, even though they have you wired to the brain. Some weird DNA shenanigans. On a serious note, it is kind of interesting how they just kind of warp you into this. Like, they don't try to build lore with, like, you must understand the courage of justice and seek the truth of wisdom. They're like, ha ha, fucko, you're here now. You want a CVS Plus membership? I'm gonna stop. Um, so, going back to the whole thing, you're in this machine here with, like, Walter White over here, and you need to give them information because apparently you're from someone or an organization. I shouldn't say someone. I'm tired. Uh, and now you're gonna kind of have to put up with this, otherwise you will be killed. I mean, it doesn't help anyways. The enemies are gonna kill them regardless. But illusion of choice always works. So, Kilometers over here has to now go back into his ancestors' past because apparently they've figured out through, I don't know, some weird ass. I want to see the Venn diagram on this one, on how it relates to Homeboy. But his ancestor found something really powerful, and CVS wants the thing to do it. Obviously, they don't fucking tell you what it is, but yeah, it's the whole point of a mystery. So, yeah, there's probably something else here, but who cares? Back to the past. Woo! Alright, so you're in your first scene, and fucking Homeboy over here just really just I want to show you our main character here. Just round of applause and silence, I mean. Up too late.
An excellent skill. Fortune favors your blade.
Not fortune, skill. Watch a while longer and you might learn something.
Indeed. He'll teach you how to disregard everything the Masters taught us.
And how would you have done it?
I would not have drawn attention to us. I would not have taken the life of an innocent. What I would have done is follow the creed.
Nothing is true. Everything is permitted. Understand these words.
Allow me to present to you Homeboy, otherwise known as Altair Ibn Alahad. I think that's how you pronounce it. Even if you're essentially the top dog, you still get dirtbagged on. I don't know the word for this. I'm like blanking out. From two people that are also on your mission. Two brothers, Malik and the other guy. I can't remember at the time of making this audio log. And moving on from that, you have another argument, and instead of, planning this procedure as your three guys against, like, a whole fucking 6 of them, or 7, I kind of can't remember, but I just want to also point out how attentive Altair is in this scene. Great fucking attention to detail, I'll tell you what, game. I may or may not have positioned him to falsely accuse him like a journalist, but, I'm the messenger here, I think. I don't know. So, you decide to jump in face first, not like, possibly walking around or anything. Nah, just go right through the front door. And you immediately get your shit kicked in. Good fucking job, dumbass. Now you gotta run away, and, now we have to run back all the way to HQ with our head down. Meeting up with Homeboy 2. What was his name again? Oh, let me check the script here. Al-Muallim, yeah, there we go, that was his name. I tell you, these rants are going to be incoherent. So, you now have to be like, hey, remember that grocery list you wanted me to get? I did not get any of it. I tried to rob the store and failed. So, after delivering your message, and then also may or may not have pretended that you were the only survivor, yeah, no, we got reamed for that shit. That wasn't sliding at all. Moving on from that, at this point, they kind of followed our footsteps and led the enemy all the way back. So now the Templars, or I think they're just the Crusaders. I don't even think they are. The game mentions this yet, which is kind of nice. So now you're dealing with what you fucked up earlier. And it also turns out Malik, I don't know how, survived the fucking onslaught of like 20 dudes. What a fucking trooper. You're also fucked, but goddamn, my man's a trooper. I like him a lot. Anyways, so Al-Mualim's like, you know what? You fucking leave. Homeboy here is gonna be with me and tell me the actual story since you clearly are a gaming journalist. Also, another thing about it, I did kind of gloss over this. Like, another interesting thing with Assassin's Creed is the concept of the leap of faith. Al-Mualim did kind of explain some of the basic things of the creed, but during your little incident with Robert, he also mentions how the assassins shouldn't be afraid of death, and they actually use that to their advantage. And that's the whole thing with the creed. They kind of have to just go in and just kind of let it ride, which somehow leads to them, I don't know, having like the strength of 1,000 men when they just fucking jump into hay bales the entire time, and only hay bales. Later on, it's water, but for now, it's just hay bales, and it's the most comedic thing to me because it's just like you are crashing at high velocity speed, and some of these scales are not like high and are not like safe at all. I just want to, and then it started a whole bunch of trends, but we're not going to pay attention to that. Eventually, the leaps of faith do get kind of fucking ridiculous, like kilometers per hour fucking leap of faithing off of a building and then parachuting just to get into a Abstergo building, which is hilarious, in my opinion. We'll get to 3 eventually. I have words for 3. And then I think at this point you get, can't remember this. Oh, Willem, can you actually help me with, there we go. Oh, he's dead. Alright, well, thank you everybody for showing up to the stream. It was a good time. I didn't think I'd actually be able to get this. Amazing. We're gonna move on now. Up. Never mind, we're still alive. Yeah, Al-Mualim didn't really shank us and kill us. More of a hard reset, as it were. So, at this point, the game actually punishes you. Well, the character, not you, the player, but more of it's a way to restart you, essentially. Al-Mualim was like, alright, clearly you need some fucking retraining. So we're going to take away all your shiny shit and give you this crappy shit instead, which really isn't that much of a difference in my opinion. Granted, having no throwing knives does become somewhat of an issue, but I don't know. This message is brought to you by water. At this point, you can actually kind of see the tonal shift on how Al-Mualim treats you initially compared to now. Since initially he has high respect for you, you've clearly proven you can do something and just have good natural talent. But after fucking shanking you, you're a child in his eyes now. Because it's clear that you're not actually doing what you're being told to, and instead just fucking around. So, at this point, Altair now has to prove he's actually mature, so you have very little to go off of. Which is where now Masayaf becomes, I think, a tutorial area. Where the main point is that you now need to go find a traitor amongst your mix, because I guess people don't go to Masayaf that easily, nor do the Templars just fucking know, which is just dumb. Oh god, that one came out of nowhere. So, now this leads you to, what essentially you're going to be doing for the rest of the game, minus the combat, which is essentially being a spy. So, this obviously involves, eavesdropping on people, pickpocketing people, tailing people, taking them to the parking lot of a Denny's and beating the shit out of them. And all that good stuff. You come back, find the guy, he gets shanked, and you get some of your tools back. Basically your basic sword, as well as your hidden blade, and I don't think you get throwing knives till later, I can't remember. So at this point, you've learned that Robert has a bunch of enemies, or a bunch of allies, and in order to actually properly take down Robert, Al-Mualim's going to need you to actually take these guys out this time. But there's a bit of a caveat to this. So first off, a lot of your skills are actually locked off now, which is fine in my opinion, because the game's not going to teach you them immediately. So when you quote-unquote relearn them, you're actually learning them for the first time. So again, I like this. This whole idea, I don't like the usual... I guess I've gotten bored of the usual trope of, hey, you've now learned this. Hey, you've now learned this. I don't mind getting stripped away of your like powerful tools and whatnot and back to basic form. It's a lot makes a lot more sense than Metroid and some of the earlier titles, how you just kind of lost them. Like in like fucking, well, granted, a lot of them were doing the same thing, but eh. I guess I just don't want to bring up Metroid Other M because I really don't count that as like its own. I count that as its own thing. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. I don't know. I doubt I'll ever play it. Anyways, back to Assassin's Creed with our boy Kilometers. Or Altair. I don't have a joke for this one. So now you decide to make your way off to... Where the hell are we going next? I think it's Acre. I can't remember. You're going to one of three cities. There's like three cities. There's like Acre, Jerusalem, and whatever the fuck the third one is. I don't think the first one's Acre. What does my script say? It looks like Acorn. All right, we're going to Acorn. Anyway, so now we're targeted with actually hunting people. So we're actually taking up a contract and taking out these like people that Robert has fucking connections with. Another thing I did actually just realize I glossed over was the fact of why you were in Jerusalem at the start of the game, considering you were helping Al-Mualim take a relic that Robert wanted to get his hands on. You don't know what it is yet, but that relic is important, which is nice. Again, another bit of mystery that gets explained later on. They give you a character that is dead focused on just killing people and nothing else, so you kind of transfer that mindset over, so it works out. So when you get to the first city, I can't remember what its name is. It might be Acre, and that'll be hilarious if it is. You make it your way over there, and instead of just being able to kill, you obviously now have to work on being a lower rank, which requires you go to the Assassin's Guild, where you meet our first guy.
Altair, it is good to see you, and in one piece.
You as well, friend.
I am sorry for your troubles.
Think nothing of it.
A few of your brothers were here earlier, in fact. Oof, if you'd heard the things they said, I'm certain you'd have slain them where they stood.
After meeting with the Guildmaster, you obviously once again realize that Altair is not just some like unknown person who thinks they're hot shit. They are like known by other members. Granted, the one in Acre is a bit more sweet to you, which I guess works out in the long run, because considering how the other guildmasters work. So essentially, I'm going to break this down, is that the way it works is that once you talk to the guildmaster, because you have to register in with them and be like, hey, I'm living here now for like a bit because I've been told to do something, you then need to, instead of the guildmaster doing anything for you, you have to work your way there. So you have to get information. And the way to do it is what the game taught you prior, which involves talking to people, eavesdropping on them, stealing from them, beating them up in a back parking lot. I don't understand why there's so many parking lots. I'm just going to use it as a way to beat people up. You do that, and eventually you'll get enough information to find out where your target's hiding, what the fuck they're even doing in the city in the first place, and getting permission by the guildmaster to take him out. Granted, this is where the game doesn't exactly tell you where to go, which is fine in my opinion. Obviously, when gathering information, the minimap isn't going to help you. So, what you have to do is get a little help from an eagle's perspective, as it were. In order to actually find out what mission markers there are available, you're going to have to climb up these buildings or viewpoints. With the viewpoints, you can synchronize. Now you have an eagle's eyes perspective and can freely, or at least see a good distance before you might need to go to another one and rinse and repeat. Granted, they aren't required, and a lot of the missions are stationary, so as long as you're near them, you can even trigger them. So, after taking out your first dude, you kind of learn that there's more people to this than you think, and they kind of speak in weird riddles, and this is where another interesting bit happens, is that even though... Well, actually, I'll save that for a minute. So eventually you kill your first dude, and you have to fucking book it. Because you kind of just killed a man in broad daylight. Because there is no nighttime for some reason. I don't know, I think maybe back then this concept of the moon was non-existent. You take out the dude and then run away, and really, it's kind of annoying, but eventually you figure out your own path and just hide near the Assassin's Guild because there's always the hiding spot up there. Once you make it that, you then go back to the Guildmaster, they'll share a few words, and you're on your way back to Masyaf to report your findings. Once again, then, you kind of rinse and repeat at this point, going to Damascus next. Something that's interesting about this one is that aside from gathering the information, another thing I haven't talked about yet is the concept of saving civilians. There's a couple other quests. Some of these holy men are actually placed in good spots to the point where you can go into what is essentially unauthorized territory, or at least places where you're not supposed to go, like people like restricted access. So it's like a good incentive to help these people out. There's also like the whole synchronicity thing, but I'll get into that like at the very end. So you help kill people, and you get some holy dudes, and then you move into where the doctor is. The doctor has some great ass environmental storytelling. You see like patients going crazy, like there's people all over, and then you have the intro scene where this happens. Damn. Give him the fucking wet works. Go for the throat. That's damn convenient. He was right fucking there.
Enough, my child. I asked you to retrieve the patient, not to kill him. There. Everything will be all right.
No!
Give me
No!
your hand.
Don't touch me! Not again!
Cast out this fear, else I cannot help you.
Help me? Like you helped the others? You took their souls! I saw! But not mine! No! You'll not have mine! Ah!
Oh, damn. He gave him the backhand.
Do you think this gives me pleasure? Do you think I want to hurt you?
If you're a sadist, yes.
Choice.
Every kind word matched by the back of his hand! All lies and deception! He won't be content until all bow before him!
You should not have done that.
This dude is so fucking scrawny. How are the
Return him
both
to
of you
his
struggling to hold
I'll
him?
be along once I've tended to the
You
other.
can't keep me here! I'll escape again!
No, you won't. Break his legs, both of them.
Up, and there goes the other one. God, so wait, you're telling me they can Yeah, doctors! Helping people since the good old times. Anyways, you clearly see that this doctor is, like, fucking corrupt beyond belief, so time to kick his ass! Oh, he's closing in. Prison shank! No, prison shank! Damn it! Fuck! Fuck! Alright, second time's the charm! Anyway, so we take out the doctor, and this dude is fucking bonkers.
To me. But before I close my eyes, I must know what will become of my children.
You mean the people made to suffer your cruel experiments? They'll be free now to return to their homes.
Homes? What homes? The sewers? The brothels? The prisons that we dragged them from?
You took these people against their will.
Yes. What little will there was for them to have. Are you really so naive? Do you appease a crying child simply because he wails? But I want to play with fire, Father. What would you say? As you wish. Ah. But then you'd answer for his burns.
These are not children, but men and women full grown.
In body, perhaps, but not in mind. Which is the very damage I sought to repair. I admit, without the piece of Eden, which you stole from us, my progress was slowed. But there are herbs, mixtures, and extracts. My guards are proof of this. They were madmen before I found and freed them from the prisons of their own minds. And with my death, madmen they will be again.
You truly believe you were helping them?
It's not what I believe. It's what I know.
Altair just takes him in and is just like, what the fuck just happened? And then also you gotta escape. You know, the usual. It's also at this point where I kind of want to mention just like how Altair is actually a person. Usually with these kind of, like older games, like the character's a bit one-sided, maybe sometimes mute in some situations. Granted, I'm not speaking with a lot of experience, so you can bash me on that. But it's good that Altair is just kind of questioning what's happening because no sane man is going to look at that and be like, "Yep, that's exactly normal to think like that." He actually even brings it up to the guild leader, who at first kind of says this: "Stab them when they're on the ground."
What news, Altair?
Gagne is dead.
Then you should return to Masyaf with news of your victory.
There is something else.
Speak it then, or would you have me read your mind?
What do you think he wanted from these people? That he would keep them and experiment on them as he did?
Yours is not to ask, but act, Altair. It doesn't matter what he did or why. Only that he's dead.
But Gagne seemed to believe he was helping these people.
Is that what you saw?
No. What I saw was not a place of healing, but of pain.
Then why are we having this conversation?
I don't know. Forget I spoke of it.
I already have.
Yeah, he's still a bit bitter considering, Altair, a high-ranked assassin, just fucked up so goddamn stupidly. But it's nice, there's a bit of, like, character here and there. Because between these, like, sections, there's a lot of dead air in the sense that you're just kind of running around and doing your own thing. Sure, you're talking to other guild members, or at least other Creed members, rather. But the Creed members all kind of have the same model, so there's a lot of emptiness. So any dialogue that kind of happens is, I feel like, more memorable in that way, which really works to this game's credit, to like create this sense of dead air, and then the dead air gets immediately replaced with dialogue, and you're hooked in. So that's Damascus done. Now, finally, back to Jerusalem to reclaim it for... no, we're not doing this. Nope. Back in the closet. On our way to Jerusalem, I also want to bring up how Altair's character acts in general. He doesn't try to use his rank anymore to go against things, because he realized, I guess, how bad he fucked up, but at the same time, he can't do really anything about it, because he knows too much and will be actually put down. Like, even though he was some hot shit, 2 people were enough to hold him down so that Al-Mualim could stab him. But that doesn't that doesn't mean that Altair is just a idiot or a blind follower. He's just kind of had some arrogance and still has his human traits, because he's obviously questioning, because he just went through the weirdest shit with the doctor, and yet somehow this seems like a good thing for him to be doing. Alright. Oh, hey, look, it's Jerusalem. So we move in, and obviously, once again, yada yada, check in with the guild.
Safety and peace, Malik.
Your presence here deprives me of both. What do you want?
Al-Mualim has asked.
Ask that you perform some menial task so be out with it.
Very well. Here's what I know. He traffics in human lives, kidnapping Jerusalem citizens and selling them into slavery. His base is a warehouse located inside the Barbican, north of here. As we speak, he prepares a caravan for travel. I'll strike while he's inspecting his stock. If I can avoid his men, Talal himself should prove little challenge.
Little challenge? Listen to you. Such arrogance.
Are we finished? Are you satisfied with what I've learned?
No. But it will have to do. Rest, prepare, cry in the corner. Do whatever it is you do before a mission. Only make sure you do it quietly.
I really kind of like the interactions here, because this whole concept of dead air and then getting replaced with either conversations with the victims or the guild masters. So now going to essentially the 3 cities you're going to at this point, it kind of becomes a bit of rinse and repeat. Granted, with each section, usually you're learning a new skill or getting a new piece of equipment. Like, I think by the time you reach Damascus, you now have the ability to counter enemies, which is like basically where majority of the combat now goes to, where you wait for the enemy to strike and then counter them. Granted, some of them might trip you up with like heavy attacks, but once you learn the timing, it's golden. That, and some enemies will actually abuse your counter and then try to counter themselves, in which case you're going to need the ability to strafe around them or dodge immediately. And once you get the hang of it, you can do some fucking whack-ass shit. It's great. And really, at this point, like, the game just kind of feels slightly a bit dead airy, but that's only because this is coming from someone who just beat it. Like, when you're in the moment, you're not really going to notice it. And like once you've at least visited each of the areas, when you have to go back, they're already, you could fast travel to them essentially the second you leave the training area, which is nice. It speeds it up. Granted, there is a lot of, there's still all the viewpoints in like the open area, which I'm not going to talk about because there really is nothing there aside from like Templars or like actual Templars, like the Holy Crusader Knights and whatnot, and flags, which do something, and then the viewpoints, which help you in synchronization. Other than that, not much is there aside from, I don't know, horse riding is a crime, but they raise horses, so take that as you will. When going back to each area, each guildmaster essentially has like more dialogue for you. Their opinions change of you. Granted, the first one never really changes since he's always sweet towards you, which is nice.
Altair, my friend. Welcome, welcome. Whose life do you come to collect today?
His name is Abu Nakud.
Oh, the merchant king of Damas. Richest man in the city. Quite exciting, quite dangerous. I envy you, Altair. Well, not the bit where you were beaten and stripped of your rank, but I envy everything else. Oh, except for the terrible things the other assassins say about you. But yes, aside from the failure and the hatred, yes, aside from those things, I envy you very much.
If you're finished, I've gathered the information required to begin my task.
You work quickly. Tell me what you've learned.
Abu Nakud is corrupt to the core and despised by his own citizens as a result. It appears he's been stealing money meant for the people of Damas and spending it on himself. Even as we speak, he flaunts his greed, preparing for a lavish party. His guards and servants should have their hands full dealing with the guests. They won't even know I'm there.
Most impressive, my friend. The others said you'd make a mess of things, but not I. No, I'm a bit different. Perhaps this was simply a symptom of his madness.
Perhaps.
You sound unconvinced. Speak with Al-Mualim then. He may offer a better explanation.
Yes, we'll see what he has to say.
Hi, this is Future Wear. So there was audio here, but when I was recording these, my like idiot brain was fidgeting around with my water bottle, so there was a lot of clinks and clanks. So I'm kind of gonna have to redo a lot of these parts. So if it sounds different, that's because I did you a favor and redid a lot of these parts. The remaining parts I wanted to cover was mainly how you interact with the other guildmasters. Specifically what happens when you interact with the one in Damascus for the second time.
What news?
William of Montferrat is dead, and with him his plans for betrayal.
You've done well keeping Akka from his hands.
But why now, when the Crusaders require unity most? Could have waited.
Waited for what? For Richard to return and discover his schemes? No. It was the perfect time for him to strike.
Strange. I was sure he meant to take Akka for Conrad, yet he claimed this was not his plan.
You cannot trust the words of a snake, which even in death produces venom.
I should discuss this with Al-Mualim.
Yes, my friend. Make haste for Masyaf. I am sure he is eager for news.
Alright. More specifically what happens after you get your second kill, because it's really where I feel like the dialogue shines a lot in this empty story. Not only here, but also in Jerusalem, where, like, I'll give you the before and after with Malik.
Safety and peace, Malik.
Word that the city was possessed of either. Why do you trouble me today?
Al-Mualim has marked Majduddin for death. What can you tell me about him?
Salahuddin's absence has left the city without a proper leader, and Majduddin has appointed himself to play the part. Fear and intimidation get him what he wants. He has no true claim to the position.
That ends today.
You speak too readily. This is not some slaver we're discussing. He rules Jerusalem and is well protected because of it. I suggest you plan your attack carefully. Get to better know your prey.
With your help, I will. Where would you have me begin my search?
What's this? You're actually asking for my assistance instead of demanding it. I'm impressed.
Be out with it.
As you wish.
Yo, bleeding. That's great.
What news, novice?
I am not a novice.
A man's skill is defined by his actions, not the markings on his robe.
We can trade barbs or do Al-Muallim's work. It's your decision.
Then be out with it.
Jerusalem's regent Mejduddin is holding a public execution not far from here. It's sure to be well guarded, but it's nothing I can't handle. I know what to do.
And that is why you remain a novice in my eyes. You cannot know anything, only suspect. You must expect to be wrong, to have overlooked something. Anticipate, Altair. How many times must I remind you of this?
As you... Jerusalem needs a new ruler.
So I have heard.
What's this? No words of wisdom for me? Surely I have failed in some spectacular fashion.
You performed as an assassin should. No more, no less. That you expect praise for merely doing as told, however, troubles me.
It seems everything I do troubles you.
Reflect on that. But do so on your way back to Masyaf. Your work here is done.
Alright, see ya. Even after the massive fuck up, Malik can still see why exactly Altair is what he is, and why so many people have him in high regards. And to that point, it actually really works out, because it's Malik's not one-sided, like, oh, you let my brother die, I don't like you, and that's the entire thing. No, he, over the course of time, kind of comes to terms seeing, like, yeah, no, he fucked up, he's seeing his reason, he's actually decent enough. And really, Malik's character, and I guess the second Damascus Guildmaster, also sees differently in Altair. And really, by the time you reach what I consider like the final act, which is really like after Ocker 3, so after the third Ocker adventure, Ocker's really straightforward. I don't really notice any sort of change within character, but a lot of pieces start to fit together after Damascus, which is probably like the most important piece here. Especially when the Damascus Guildmaster has a change of heart, as seen here.
Newly appointed leader of the Knights Teutonic, he resides in the Venetian Quarter and runs Akka's port.
I'll start my work at once.
Here are the places where you should focus your search. On the docks east of here, among the ships and their crews. At the chapel to the northeast, near the cross overlooking the port. And to the north, in front of St. John's Gate.
This is most helpful. My thanks for the guidance.
Altair,
Yes, Rafiq.
I owe you an apology.
For what?
For doubting your dedication to our cause.
No, it was I who erred. I believed myself above the creed. You owe me nothing.
As you wish, my friend. Go in safety.
Is when, for some reason, quick killing an opponent is this thing of the past now.
Altair, you've caused quite a stir.
I've done as requested. Sabran's life is ended.
So it is. So it is. You should ride for Masyaf and inform Al-Muallim of your success.
Yes. I should return and speak to him. Of this and other things.
Is everything all right, my friend? You seem distant.
It's nothing, Rafiq. Just a lot on my mind.
Talk to me then. Let me help.
I need to make sense of this myself first. But thank you for the offer.
It is the men you kill, isn't it? You feel something for them.
How?
Ah, my friend. You are not meant to enjoy these grim tasks. Regret, uncertainty, sympathy. This is to be expected.
I should not fear these feelings.
You should embrace them. They are what keep you human.
What if I'm wrong? What if these men are not meant to die? What if they mean well? Misguided, perhaps, but pure in motive.
I am but a Rafik, Altair, and such things are beyond me. Perhaps Al-Mualim can help you to make sense of it.
Yes, perhaps. Thank you, Rafik.
It is my pleasure to have served with one as skilled as you.
Instead of trying to brush it off, he wants Altair to actually think more freely, as it were, seeing as these things aren't exactly easy to comprehend with the shit that Altair is seeing. And it really comes together, in my opinion, during the end sequence, when you've reached Jerusalem, and it's now time to take on Robert. So, once we get to Jerusalem, we have a little talk with Malik.
Safety and peace, Altair.
Upon you as well, brother.
Seems fate has a funny way with things.
So it's true then. Robert de Sable is in Jerusalem.
I've seen the knights myself.
Only misfortune follows that man. If he's here, it's because he intends ill. I won't give him the chance to act.
Do not let vengeance cloud your thoughts, brother. We both know no good can come of that.
I have not forgotten. You have nothing to fear. I do not seek revenge, but knowledge.
Truly you are not the man I once knew.
My work has taught me many things, revealed secrets to me. But there are still pieces of this puzzle I do not possess.
What do you mean?
All the men I've laid to rest have worked together, united by this man. Robert has designs upon the land. This much I know for certain. But how and why, when and where, these things remain out of reach.
Crusaders and Saracens working together?
They are none of these things, but something else. Templars.
The Templars are a part of the Crusader army.
Or so they'd like King Richard to believe. No, their only allegiance is to Robert de Sable and some mad idea that they will stop the war.
You spin a strange tale.
You have no idea, Malik.
And then we're set off to go find information about where Robert is. And eventually it leads to this. Yeah, a bit of a gathering for our fallen foes. But, we're here to do a job, so let's just go take on... Oh, shit. Yeah, looks like Robert pulled a fast one on us. And through thick or thin, to be honest, I kind of botched this section. I'm gonna just play the clip here. Got him.
I would see your eyes before you die.
I sense you expected someone else.
Yeah, so we kind of got fooled with Robert planting a decoy in Maria. I'm gonna quote myself on that.
It was a trap.
I had heard the funeral turned to chaos. What happened?
Robert de Sable was never here. He sent another in his stead. He was expecting me.
You must go to Al-Mualim.
There's no time. She told me where he's gone, what he plans. If I return to Masyaf, he might succeed. And then, I fear we'll be destroyed.
We have killed most of his men. He cannot hope to mount a proper attack. Wait, did you say she?
Yes, it was a woman. Strange, I know. But that's for another time. For now, we must focus on Robert. We may have thinned his ranks, but the man is clever. He goes to plead his case to Richard and Salah ad-Din, to unite them against the common enemy. Against us.
Surely you're mistaken.
Instead of Robert himself, seeing as now Robert is going to go convince, I believe, King Richard in order to help out fighting against the assassins.
Midst.
And he has hired you to kill me? Come to gloat about it before you strike? I wouldn't be taken so easily!
It's not you I've come to kill. It's him.
Speak then, that I may judge the truth. Who is this traitor?
Robert de Sable.
So I'm not going to try and really talk too much. I'm just going to kind of summarize parts because I realize how long this video is at this point. A lot of things really like the beginning and the end are probably like the strongest parts of the story. The middle is kind of iffy for me, at least in my opinion. I don't know, I feel like the repetitiveness without like too much development goes too far. Granted, you do get hints about the Piece of Eden from Al-Mualim, as well as you get more gear, and then you have more talks, as well as Altair coming to realize the actual understanding of the creed's definition. And it really, everything really pieces together at the end, where now you fight Robert to prevent King Richard from annihilating you with his army, to now facing Al-Mualim, who, spoilers, is actually the true villain because he was working with Robert, but he wanted the apple for himself and uses assassins to get it. And really, everything kind of comes together at this point. All I really have left to say, there's not a lot, but at first the game kind of seems empty with a lack of, I guess, things to do, and you may not see immediate rewards aside from achievements or whatnot. But I feel like the story really goes well because of how empty it is. When there's not a lot else, and then the story is there to fill in the gaps, which is the main important piece, because when you're going through history, there's a lot of dead air, obviously. Like, when you learn about history, the in-between sections, you're not going to know that George Washington took, like, 3 dumps the day of or something. No, you're just going to know the notable events. Granted, the minor things may be documented, but there are a lot more minuscule things that aren't there. So that's where the emptiness is, obviously. You're running from point to point, gathering information, and the way you do it is based on how much you want to do it, how much you want to see through history. So there's a choice. That in-between can be whatever, how you want, but the end story bits, whether it's performing a final assassination or reporting to the guildmaster, there's a certain way it has to be done no matter what, because that was the correct course. The in-between is a bit iffy because you could have done whatever. And I feel like it kind of works in this situation. That's how Assassin's Creed is that there are required story bits that you have to interact with, and then the way you handle the in-betweens, whether it's a battle or gathering information or doing a quest, however you want to do it, that's up to you. You can do it from range with knives, or go up close and personal, bare fist, really from 2 onwards, or just going in with your sword or hidden blade. Like, however you want to do those, that's where it is. But at the same time, they're able to keep, like, a level of professionalism and, like, a level of human within all these characters. And in my opinion, I feel like really the ending for Assassin's Creed was the most chilling, with now Al-Mualim using the Piece of Eden, or the apple, as it's better known, to manipulate and sway all the other Assassin's Creed members, except for anyone that's outside of range, or Altair, who is actually apparently resistant to the influence of the apple. And like a really good character moment is when Malik saves your ass from thousands of assassins swarming you, and then also keeping your back covered while you go deal with Al-Mualim for the final fight. And a lot of, like, it just starts setting up for a sequel, which is not the worst thing, because the game itself has enough to keep you going and telling you a story that promotes its legacy from here onwards. I think I've said my piece. I think this video was a lot longer, but a lot of audio issues came into play because of my idiot ass, like, banging shit together or just grabbing something and playing with it stupidly. So I guess apologies for that, but I don't really think it's too big of an issue in my opinion. Other than that, I had fun playing with Assassin's Creed. I don't think I can have as much fun as the rest of the games. If I were to recommend this game, I'd recommend, if you haven't played an Assassin's Creed game and you, like, want to know the original story, then you play 1. Otherwise, really, you can start with 2 or Brotherhood, not really Revelations, and then later on, if you just, like, want, like, one Assassin's Creed game that you just want to play, you don't really care too much about the story, I would recommend Black Flag, because that game is just probably the best of the original series, if anything. But I'll eventually get into those when I rant about those kinds of games later on. Other than that, have a good one.